Hi, I'm Master Kyle Billingsley with World Pakwa Martial Arts and Health, and today we're going to talk about Sky, Man, Earth. So we've talked about so far yin yang and energy theory. Sky, Man, Earth is another way that we divide up the different types of energy into different categories. The most simple one we talked about before is yin yang, which is duality, opposing force. The next one is Sky, Man, Earth, which is similar to the duality, except we add in the middle an antenna that connects the two things. So we call Sky, Man, Earth, or heavens, human Earth, or whatever you want to refer to it as mentally, as the idea that we are an antenna that connects the energy from the heavens and the energy that comes from the earth, and inside of us, they mix. So each person has inside of them three parts, and each of those parts belong to one of those three planes, which means influence from the earth, influence from the surroundings, or influence from the heavens. When we talk about a person's actions or intentions or personality, we can refer to those three different states. So what are those three states? The earth is every single thing material. So it's physical things, it's the action of doing things, it's the contact that we have, it's a measurement, it's time and money, logic and rational thought. All things that can be put into an order of rationality that I can show to another person and they can agree or it's wrong. There's no other way. It's just is or isn't. So math is a great example of earth thinking. If I'm making a plan for my future and I say to myself, okay, today I'm going to do 5, and the next day I'm going to do 6, and the next day I'm going to do 7, that's a very progressive and mental way of thinking, of earth way of thinking. The next plane, oh, sorry, earth also contains another two things, which are the necessities of life, which means reproduction, it means shelter, it means food, it means survival. Those things belong into the earth plane. All the things that are absolutely minimum required. The second set of things we call the man plane or the human plane. The human plane consists of every single thing that's alive, every single thing that's connected to the roots into the earth, and also the energy of the sun. We talk about that being the social aspect. It's the interactive aspect. It's also our emotions, anger, happiness, enthusiasm, depression, all those things that belong into the human plane. How I react to other people, how I talk with other people, the energy I get from eating, the energy I get from talking with people, the energy I get from watching something or listening to something, all of that is part of the human experience. The last plane is the sky plane, which is purpose and morality and ethics. It's the reason that we do anything, it's the substance of the actions that we take, it's the intention that we put in our lives from day to day. It's following the general ideas of many religions or many philosophies or many ways of life that allow us to move through the world with purpose and understanding of the meaning of the actions that we take. Every single thing that we do, we process in our mind in those three ways. So if I go see my friend, I'm thinking about the time it takes to get there in my schedule. That's an earth thing. I'm thinking about the money it costs to do the thing with them. I'm thinking about how much I like the person. That's a man thing. How much I interact with the person, the energy I get from being with them, the relationship that I'm building for the future. And then I'm thinking about what it is, the purpose of what I'm doing. I'm just trying to relax. I'm helping them out because they're having a hard time. I'm building the person I want to be inside my mind by the way I interact with them and the things that I do. So each one of those things we think about every single time that we process anything, that we decide anything. Depending on when I'm in a normal mood, I use all those different things. Depending on what's happening in my life, sometimes, or some people, or in and out, we all go through focusing on one of those extremes. One becomes dominant over the other. So sometimes we interact with people, for example, in an earth way, which means how can I get money from that person? How can I earn a living from those people? How can I make more money? How can I have time for myself? How can I change the schedule that I work to change the time in which I work? How can I get the food I need to live or the shelter I need to live? That way of thinking is a material way of thinking. So when I'm thinking over that way, I'm thinking over the earth way. If I can't pay my rent and I become obsessed with the fact that I'm going to get kicked out, or that becomes a preoccupation in my mind, I might do actions that otherwise I would never think I would do. I might exploit somebody or steal something or commit a crime of some kind to have what I need to pay my rent. That action is a earth action. I'm thinking to myself, I need something, it's a necessity, to produce shelter or food for myself, and so I'm willing to do things that I wouldn't normally do socially or ethically. Because that part of my mind, that part of my thinking, the reptilian brain, it takes over my thinking and I act according to those things. The second time that I become overwhelmed with one of the earth or sky or man minds is when I have an emotional crisis. That means I suffer a panic attack, I get extremely angry, I get really passionate about something or enthusiastic. That leads to other excess problems. So if I'm extremely sad, I might stop doing things that allow me to pay the bills, which means I'm ignoring I'm ignoring the earth part of my mind. Because I'm so angry, I get mad, I punch somebody. I'm ignoring the consequence for my hand, the consequence of the crime, the consequence of the things that happen that will logically follow. I'm so in love with somebody, I'm buying them things, I'm saying things to them that I wouldn't normally say, that go against who I think I am, because that emotion is so strong, it overwhelms my sky mind and my earth mind, and I act according to that emotion. So many of the things that happen to us that are man problems are from excessive emotion. Too sad, too happy, too enthusiastic, too passionate, too depressed, too afraid, and that leads to me not taking actions according to my other minds, when the man mind becomes dominant. The last mind is the sky mind. The sky mind, the only real example we have of somebody who becomes extreme in the sky mind is like a monk that doesn't have any friends, that lives alone in the woods or the top of a mountain, that doesn't talk with anybody, doesn't have a family, eats just the very minimum amount to stay alive, drinks just the very minimum amount to stay alive, ignores entirely the social aspects, the social part of life, the emotions in life, the necessity of life, but only as much as it can to maintain that sort of mental high plane. None of those things are necessarily, like we talked about before, good or bad. The important thing to remember is just that they bring us through a process of life. If I find that I'm often making emotional decisions that affect how I can pay my rent, how I relate to my friends, I run out of food, all of that happens sometimes because I am an emotional person. The same happens where I exploit people, where I find myself at the end of the day thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that to that person for $100. I shouldn't have charged that much for that. I shouldn't have sold that person the thing that I knew was broken, but they didn't know, and I sold it to them for full price. All of those things are earth things. So we try as people in the study of Pakwa to find a balance between all of those aspects, which means I'm not working just for money. I'm not working just for social exposure, and I'm not working just for how I think the world should be. I'm balancing the three things. I'm charging enough money that I can live a medium life, not the highest high-rise mansion life, to live a medium life. I'm trying to earn that money by being socially responsible and belonging to the society and being a good worker, being responsible towards my peers and co-workers, being responsible towards my friends and family. And I'm trying to pursue something that I think is important, whether it's my job or whether it's a hobby or whether I volunteer. I'm also using the time and energy that I spend to help to follow my ethical code or moral values. So maybe that means volunteer, maybe that means I raise money for something, maybe that means I'm always helping friends out when they're in need, maybe it means that I foster animals, any different thing that each person is uniquely suited to or feels passionate about. So we try to follow those three different things in our life, and we try to see the times that one becomes too extreme, or one becomes too strong, or one becomes too high, so that we understand that we also can use the same thing to work with and relate to the people around us. So when I see somebody come into the studio and they drive a Ferrari and they wear a gold chain and they're wearing, all white, perfectly white, everything nice, I see that that person is manifesting the earth plane as the main important thing. When I see a person come in with a religious slogan and a cross on their chest and talking in a specific way, then I know that that person is prioritizing some other ethical or social construct of the religion in which they believe. Neither one is better or worse than the other. It's just a different way. So when I interact with different people, I can see, oh, this person's interested in the logical explanation of the world. This person's interested in the metaphysical, spiritual aspect of the world. This person's interested in social interaction. This person's interested in, and so on. So every single thing that we do, we pursue those different aspects of life. Always trying to find all three. How can I take an action with my life that follows my moral belief, my social responsibility that I choose, and my lifestyle, which means the money I spend, the food I eat, and so on, so that all three can happen in all the actions that I take. So that's the idea of Sky Man Earth. I hope it helps you think about your life. It's a very important concept to meditate over, to see what leads to the actions that you take, whether it's emotional or physical, logical, or ethical. And it helps us understand who we are and the different disharmonies that we have. So I hope you take that and make use of it. And as you meditate, if you're practicing yoga or Tai Chi, it's a nice way to start thinking about and categorizing your thoughts and the actions that you take throughout the day. Thank you very much. I hope it helps a lot, and have a great day.